What's up, Astros fans? It's Jeff Balke with Mike Stanton on a Thursday evening after an Astros opening day loss to the New York Yankees. I normally do 5-minute Fridays. Let's call this 15-minute Friday. And we'll do a little late night action tonight. Mike, we saw Framber Valdez, the Framber we didn't want to see today. He gave up 3 runs in 4 1/3 innings. He struck out 5, but he tied his career with 6 walks.
Yeah.
What did we see? What was going on with him today?
You know, he just never looked. Actually, early in the game, he looked pretty good. I thought the tempo was good. I thought he was moving the ball around the way he wants to. But then after the first inning, he just never really looked comfortable again. You know, you saw him speed up. You saw him slow down. You know, he threw the ball 95, 96 miles an hour. Then the next pitch might be 91. You know, the funny thing is, if you watch the board, the ticker out in the outfield that actually tells you what pitch he was throwing, he threw like 50% changeups. Well, yeah, no, he didn't. A lot of those were 2-seam fastballs. He did throw some changeups.
It's like, come on,
and that was in the game
guy.
plan. Well, I don't know who does it. I think it's done by a computer because it's done so fast.
It must be.
But it's got to be done by a computer, but it's just hard to read because he'll throw his fastball anywhere from 91 to 97, right, and he'll throw his changeup from 92 to 87.
Right.
So it's kind of hard to do, but I just didn't think he bailed himself out. He's one of the most prolific sinker ball pitchers in Major League Baseball and has been for years. Yeah. Usually is number 1. Last year he was number 2 behind Webb, but and he bailed himself out 2 different times with double plays. Actually got 3 double plays.
Yeah, I got 3 double plays.
But there was that last time there in the 5th inning, he just simply couldn't get himself out of trouble. They had to come get him. It was a frustrating start because he actually had thrown the ball pretty well in spring.
Yeah, and it was the middle relief too. It was just kind of awkward. A lot of pitchers tonight. I mean, kind of somewhat expect that early in the season. They're not going to stretch guys out too far. Seth Martinez, he didn't give up a run, but he just didn't look super comfortable out there. Rafael Montero was good except for the solo home run he gave up to the 9-hitter. Ryan Presley gave up 2 hits and a walk, gave up a run. Not a very inspiring performance from the guys that you're kind of counting on to be the bridge guys.
Well, especially Presley.
Yeah.
Presley's the guy that's supposed to be part of the 3-headed monster at the back end of the bullpen. Yep. And, he it's just one of those situations. He gave up the double to Judge down into the left field corner. Yeah. Ball wasn't smoked, but was hit good enough to get into the corner. And then from there, he's just battling. And, sometimes you got to tip your cap and give it to the Yankees, or give it to your opponents because, they put some quality at bats together. But the Astros, 9 walks, 1 hit by pitch, just a not a quality pitching night. But the bottom line is they had a shot in the 9th.
They sure did.
And they got the hit that they needed. And that was Tucker with a ground ball base hit to right field. But Juan Soto, who is not known for his defense, comes up, charges the ball well, has good footwork, quick transfer, and a good strong throw. Not a great throw, but a good strong throw to home plate. And then Trevino behind the plate made a good tag to get Dubon, who led the inning off with a single. Yeah. So they got the opportunity to win the game, and that's really what you're looking for. I mean, listen. It wasn't pretty. Astros blow a 4-run lead and lose 5-4. They score in the first couple innings, then they don't score anymore. But I'll tell you what, the crowd was electric. That place was rocking and rolling. We were doing the pregame, and we couldn't hardly hear ourselves from all the noise. And it was that way all night. Yeah. And it was a very entertaining game. Just unfortunately for Astros fans, didn't turn out the way you wanted.
Yeah, and I tell you, there were a lot of Yankees fans there too. I mean, they were not always. They were always. They travel well. I will say, from the pitching standpoint, at least Taylor Scott, the South African kid, came in and looked really good. And then
walking a strikeout. He is going to, when he gets comfortable, and listen, this is his first opening day. and it's just one of those situations that he's going to have to get by the butterflies and that anxiety. But when he does, he is going to be devastating on right-handers. He throws the ball from Laredo, way
he's got
over
that
here,
sidearm thing, right?
Low 3/4 sidearm, got the sweeping breaking ball, and numbers last year against right-handers. I mean, he was just outstanding. So he's going to be a big part of the middle part of these innings for the Astros.
And none of us, I think, thought he was going to be on the roster, and really until today when they announced it. And then Josh Hader, I mean, everything. Wow. I think we got 13 pitches, 3 strikeouts. I mean, just toasted guys. I mean, it looked easy. Like he just looked easy. Like the ball came blowing out of his hand. I mean, just exploding.
And he wasn't even throwing as hard as we've seen him in the past. He was 95, 90. He might have hit 96.
Good movement.
But the ball just jumps out of his hand. He's got the sweeping slider. He moved the slider around.
That surprised me.
Back door to right-handers. When he gets it on the corner, you got no chance. You just can't pull the trigger. I mean, he came as advertised.
His location,
3 strikeouts.
incredible.
There wasn't even a ball squared up.
No.
I mean, he was outstanding. And it was great to see him get into this first, even though, he's a veteran pitcher. Mm-hmm. He's been one of the best relievers in all of baseball for a long time now. But it's still, he comes back home to Houston. He used to be an Astros farmhand. Mm-hmm. Then he comes back home. So there had to be some butterflies there too. But you sure couldn't have seen it because he was outstanding. I mean, that if that shows what he's going to do this season, it's going to be fun to watch.
Man, his location was stellar. They're just pinpointing balls on the outside corner,
both sides of the plate, with the slider and the fastball. Yeah. And we also have to remember, where was Abreu? Well, Abreu's on suspension. For today's game and tomorrow's game. Right. Then he'll be back in the bullpen for Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. I will say the bats at times looked pretty good. I mean, there were 13 hits. Jake Myers crushed a 415-foot homer onto the tracks. We saw 3 hits from Yainer Diaz, 2 from Jeremy Pena, 2 from Yordan Alvarez. Honestly, though, the other than Yordan Alvarez, their top 5 guys didn't hit particularly well. It was mostly the bottom of the order that did the damage. But at least, if I felt pretty good about the guys at the plate. They just kind of went cold in the second half, and they couldn't get guys in.
Yeah, they had Hector Cortez on the ropes early, got 3 runs in the first, 1 run in the second. That's actually all they scored, but they couldn't knock him out of the game. And, he righted the ship, ended up pitching 5 innings, and then their bullpen did a pretty nice job of kind of tiptoeing through the raindrops because there were runners on base for both sides all day. It was just they got the hits late in the game that the Astros couldn't.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I will point out one controversial moment. When Joe Espada decided to bring in John Singleton for Jake Myers. Now, he was doing this against Jonathan Loaiza, who is a righty killer. I know this. I think he was last year, righties hit 160 or something like that off of him, but lefties were hitting like 250. So here's my only criticism of this. He's probably right in that circumstance. I mean, I'm not normally a lefty righty kind of, I'm like, let him hit. In that one, he's probably right, except for the fact that his choice of lefty was John Singleton. Like, I could have gotten behind Victor Caratini coming in there. Now, I know they're not going to do that because they don't want to sacrifice a catcher.
You only have 2 on the roster.
Right. But I just thought that was kind of a misstep personally.
That's the reason Singleton is there.
I know.
I mean, he is your left-handed bat off the bench. The unfortunate, I wish he would have just seen a pitch because Loaiza is filthy. He was throwing 99-mile-an-hour sinkers. Now, the crazy thing is they have him listed at 5'11", 165 pounds.
And this dude is
just throwing fuzz. I mean, the ball is just jumping out of his hand. And he is very good, but it's also one of the reasons why he hasn't been able to stay healthy is he's, just physically, he's not a big dude. I thought it was the right move.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's the reason, John Singleton is there. He is supposed to be the hardest job in baseball. Hands down, there's no question, is pinch hitting.
Yeah.
And, I just wish he would have seen one pitch. He swings at the first pitch and just grounds out back to Loaiza. But, Jake Myers didn't want any part of Loizaga. That is a tough right-hander that you face with high velocity and movement. And I mean, to tell you the truth, he might be the best coming out of their pen, including Holmes, their closer.
He was filthy. There's no doubt about it. Although I will, in fairness, mention the two guys that were on base ahead of him were both right-handers who both singled. True. But I think it's right move, maybe just wrong player. I mean, but this is the thing we're in. They're not going to release.
He's out of options.
So
they didn't want to lose him.
By the way,
it's kind of a catch-22. There was two of those on this roster. The other one is Brandon
Bielak's the other one. There's actually there was somebody else too that's on IR that Chandler Rome mentioned today on X, and I was like, that is a storyline to watch during this year, because when you start really draining your minor league roster and you start playing these guys more and more, that's what starts to happen. You start to run out of options, and then next thing you know, you're going to have to put a guy on waivers unless they end up injured.
Well, I mean, listen, it's one of the problems that the Astros are going to have and Dana Brown's going to have, because when a team goes through a stretch like the Astros have, that last year it was coined the golden age of Astros baseball. It's still going on here in 2024. There are difficult decisions that have to be made. There's going to be unpopular decisions that have to be made, but it's just the nature of the beast, because early in the run, you're getting your minor leagues are set up. You've built the minor leagues. Well, as you get into the middle and then more towards the tail end of the run, the minor leagues, the system has dwindled, whether it's through trade or just guys that are already on the field. So you have to figure out, what moves you need to make. Get the most information you can, pull the trigger, and not look back.
Yeah, you got it. Well, this is still going to be a very good team. It's one of 162. Sure. There's no other sport that requires more patience than baseball. It requires every ounce of patience that sports fans have, which, by the way, not a lot of patience, most sports fans.
No, that's for sure. I mean, fan is short for fanatic.
That is exactly right. That is 100% right. All right. Well, we will be back next week. I am working on, I haven't even told Mike about this yet, the Bleed Los Dodgers guys. We've had dual shows with them before. They are fascinating dudes. Super fun. I'm working on putting a show together with them, which would be interesting just to hear the circus that is the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. I cannot imagine.
They're in turmoil even game one into the season. Actually, they were in turmoil before game one.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. You know what was here? Speaking of Los Angeles, Mike Trout with the first home run of the season, they still lost. And the only run they scored, Mike Trout's home run.
In the first inning.
I
think the first pitch he saw.
I think it was the first pitch he saw.
Corbin Burns gives up a home run in the first.
And then strikes out 11. He just struck out 11. Like, the Angels are in trouble, man. They are they are in trouble. And the Mariners, I think, they're losing. And I think the Rangers were in extra innings against the Cubs, which doesn't bode well. It's going to be an interesting season. That is for sure.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
But a big weekend series, obviously 3 more against the Yankees. What are you looking for in the last few games? Like, what do you want to see from the Astros? I mean, it's so early.
Yeah, we just need to put this game behind them. I mean, it's there's some things that kind of just stick in your craw. They blew a 4-run lead. They walked 9, hit 1. But there's some things you're taking away from it on the positive side too. Offense, 13 hits. They had a chance to win. They got the hit from Tucker in the 9th inning. It was just a great play by Soto and Trevino to get Dubon at home plate. So they got the 2-out hit that they were looking for. That was going to be the tying run. So there were some positives. Yeah. But listen, it's 1 of 162. Players know this. You got to put this behind you. There's a lot of baseball still to play. There's a lot of baseball still to play in this series. That's right. This game 1 of 4. So they'll move on. The players move on way better than the fans do.
What was it they say they were saying in Bull Durham? You got to take it one day at a time, and God willing.
That's all the cliches. Yeah.
You got to break them out. Now I understand. All right. Tomorrow's going to be a crazy day. Rockets are going for 11 in a row. The Cougars going for their Sweet 16 win against Duke, and the Astros back against the Yankees. Go Cougs.
Now, I'm doing this. I have no connection with the Cougars other than I have an older brother that graduated there.
I went to U of H. I'm a diehard. Me and McTaggart were talking about it today. We were commiserating about it on the during pregame. Oh man, it's going to be fun. So it's going to be a fun weekend. I hope all you guys have a great weekend. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much, and as always, go Astros.
Adios.